Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, I am taking a bit of a break from what I have been working on. I just needed a some mental separation from all things night vision and rendering and things like that, and decided to do a basically a series of blockouts and mechanic experiments, and pulled some stuff out of the bin, out of past experiments to actually finish it. Basically, to describe very messily what I'm going to be showing to you folks this week, I had started doing some changes to the SOSIGs that allowed them to be used in slightly more flexible contexts. Like 3.5 years ago, I'd been working on sketches for other game modes, other ways of integrating the SOSIGs into the sandbox experience as well, and basically just completely burned out. Some of you who've been around long enough know that I had been teasing a game mode for a while and then just sort of went quiet on it. A bunch of the stuff that I'm showing you here was a component of what I had been working on back then. But anyway, let's just go ahead and jump out into this blockout scene that I am working on. This is an urban environment, and it has a whole bunch of totally neutral civilian SOSIGs just wandering around in it. And to get this working the way it did, I basically finished, as I said, some systems that I had started on ages ago, that for one, allow them to have like slightly more complex intermediate scale pathing logic built directly in. In H3, in game modes where SOSIGs actually path around the environment, like take and hold and things like that, all of that is actually being handled by think of it like the game manager's code. It isn't something that the SOSIG really knows how to do. It's basically the game manager is keeping track of each SOSIG and being like, where are you over here now? Okay, cool. You're here? Now move over here, sort of thing. Whereas in this case, all of these SOSIGs have actually been given complex pathing groups and are actually in groups. Some of them are solo, some of them are in groups like the ones over there, and they're actually sort of progressing through their patrol points in a more complicated and more varied way than anything I've made before with them. Necessary if you actually want to have agents in a space moving around in a slightly more convincing and relaxed way. I also did some experiments involving nav mesh pathing, so they're actually only crossing at the crosswalks here, but theoretically a SOSIG in a combat state could cross the street. That was something I had never really gotten working before, that is working now for these. Okay, what else? The next big thing, you might be like, what is that colored thing there? That is just a see-through indicator to let me know where something is. I have basically, I'd started working on this a while back, had not fully figured it out, and then just had some inspiration, which is what started all of this, which is to basically be able to have SOSIGs that are on different IFFs or teams from each other that have the ability to change their relationship to other teams. So, for example here, I am on a team of one, the player. All of our neutral civvy SOSIGs here are on their own team. We're friends with each other. They're not running away from me the moment they see me. There are armed guard SOSIGs over here as well that similarly are on a different team from us, but they're not aggroing on us.
Might need to get my eyes checked. I can't see anything these days.
Perfectly timed line, buddy. And then there's, in this case, as part of this test, a target SOSIG back there who is not armed, who is as well on his own team. What I have built, what I have added, is a concept called threat, where SOSIGs on other teams can perceive a physical threat of another entity like the player or another SOSIG, and then change their relationship to it. And this is pretty nuanced. I have a gun right now, but I'm not holding it, and so they don't know that I have a gun. But if I come over here, I'm going to get myself shot here, and just pull out a gun like this and be like, hey, I've got a gun! Bammo! Right in the head. Let's reload our scene. So that happened super quick, but what actually took place there was very, very difficult to get working. That SOSIG that is on another team is parsing based upon its internal properties and some internal properties that I have about how threatening I look based upon what I'm carrying and even what's in my quick belt. Because, like, while this could fit in my pocket, it would be a little obvious. I don't think there's many people CCWing 1911s. But basically, any equipment that you have that is in your hands or in your quick belt based on some various matrices make you threatening out to a certain range. And I can actually get all, let's see, I can't remember what I tune the values to. They might decide that I'm threatening even without the gun out if I get close enough. Let's find out. Hey guys, want to buy a hot dog? Oh, nope, cool. They have no idea. Sweet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to affix that suppressor onto our handgun. Peek around the corner. And just back off like that. What's cool about Threat, they're going to now investigate those SOSIG corpses, is that it can be passed from entity to entity. So if I come over here and threaten one of these civvy SOSIGs by having a gun out, hi, they don't immediately go like that. You gonna care? You are working as, there we go. He finally cares. Oh, shoot. That one hurt my gunshot. So there, what's happening now is that one is panicking, and that one is panicking, and that one is panicking, because behind the scenes, these entities have each told themselves about, told each other about, and I get beaned. Let's reload the scene again. As I said, they have told each other that I'm a threat. I'm going to attempt to do this with just one of the guards so you can see this state transfer between them, even without me firing a shot. Let's just run over here. I made those bollards way too small. Whoops. Those need to be scaled up. So yeah, so we have two guards here. I'm going to get them to see me with the gun, and they should be close enough to pass that state off. Oh, there's the patrolling ones. This will be cool. So I can get these over here, get them to feel threatened by me. They should pass that state off to those without those two ever seeing me. So I pull a gun out like this. What's up, guys?
That's me.
Don't shoot me to death! I didn't mean it!
We've got to beat the meat.
Cool. So, if that works successfully, those should have all had that state passed off to them. Let's see if they're still there. Oh, yep, they super are. Do. I'm going, quote, out of bounds in this level to go around the side, because I want to specifically encounter the two from before. These should now immediately aggro on me, even without being armed, because they are now aware that I'm threatening. What's up, buddy?
Huh?
Oh, yep. Oh, immediately. Not you.
Huh? What on earth?
There we go.
Huh?
It's all gotten so dark now.
Ooh, that's a doozy. I'll just be over here.
And I got shot. That's wonderful. The target got me. So a number of other things that are happening here. You might have noticed the SOSIG in the red and yellow clothing. That was another experiment in this scene wherein some sort of authority can respond if basically this is an urban environment. If people are just firing off guns in an urban environment, well, that would be responded to in some capacity. And so if we just do this now, if I just fire a couple shots off like that, there's an internal simulated timer wherein one of the other entities in the environment heard that shot, called 911 on their hot dog phone, and said, hey, there's someone shooting a gun over here. And something like, I think I have it really lowered right now for testing, might be like 15 seconds. But we should get one arriving any second now. It's taking a long time to path here. Oh. And here he comes. So yeah, comes here, investigates the sound, and then there's another system I have almost done where basically once the SOSIG comes to the area, doesn't find anything, if it doesn't go into an investigation state, it then constructs a dynamic search path in all of the neighboring areas to where it is, and then patrols that area from then on for as long as it is around. So yeah, so the whole idea basically being to try to give in a contextual manner SOSIGs a little bit more intermediate term behavior that is interesting. Let me get up high just so that you can see what this environment is looking like. Need to make that ambient sound a little bit louder. So yeah, so everything I've been doing, other than obviously just getting this working at all, has been tuning a bunch of this behavior. That's the difficult thing, is that the moment that you take AI agents that do exactly one thing, and then allow them to shift between several different macro states, there's like what you expect as a player to happen, and then there's what actually ends up happening with them. So it's been very, very difficult to tune, to actually get them to go into a combat state when that makes sense, to have them not. Like, let's see, are we far enough away that we can just get them to get mad at us? Let's see. Can he see me from here? Is he mad at me? He's searching. He's wondering if there's something. Ah, okay, so he's... Yep, that was close enough. He was just getting closer with his pistol. Oh, goodness. Oh, this is not going well. I don't have spawn locking enabled in this scene, so I got one mag left of this.
Oh, goodness.
Oh! Whap!
You're dead.
Oh, so yeah, so that is the experiment that I have been working on. I'm gonna jump out of VR so I can just talk about this a little more without having to worry about getting shot in the head by SOSIGs. Yo, out of VR. So you might reasonably be asking, looking at all this, what is this for, Anton? And that is a question that I have been super cagey in answering this past week, as I've been showing off a couple screenshots in the Discord as I've been working on this. And there's a couple reasons why. The first of which is that I have tried to do something interesting in a sort of urban style scene setting, dense buildings, climbable roofs, that sort of thing. A couple times in the past, people have gotten excited as they have seen me working on it. And then I have run into some sort of intractable performance brick wall. I did a scene years ago at this point called Shooty Streets that seemed to be going super well. And then the moment that I actually put a whole bunch of SOSIGs in it at once, due to the number of assets and the complexity of the nav mesh and a bunch of other things, it ran disastrously bad. It completely imploded. And so this everything that you've seen here has been a test for me to get an environment at what I think is going to likely be a more sane level of complexity. It's more analogous to some of the more recent scenes that I've done in terms of the amount of geometry active at once, the amount of entities I'm doing aesthetically. I'm going to approach this very much like Grill House 2 story in terms of the materials, general prop density, things like that, because that should all be performance safe, or should, because I've played plenty in that scene having 15 SOSIGs active at once and things behaved correctly. So yeah, so in a big way, this scene is about me trying to find a context like this that works and plays well in both a sandbox context, while I also basically have just tried to go back and finish a bunch of work that I had done in the past to be able to use SOSIGs in a bunch of other contexts. I'd had a bunch of goofy ideas a while back, like the idea of being able to have like one of the shooting range scenes just have like other SOSIGs there idly, like walking in and out, like with a, you know, with a gun on them and standing at one of the plinths and shooting at a target and then, you know, packing up and leaving or something like that. Just that, like, you know, enjoyable little bits of simulation. And I wrote parts of that, is the thing. I wrote a whole bunch of code towards the direction of being able to actually have a SOSIG not just path to a place, but then convert over to doing sort of like a fixed animated action, doing that, and then reverting back out of it. And I just never finished it. It was all part and parcel of that game mode idea that I had been working on back then, once again, years ago at this point, and had just, I overscoped with that game mode. I bit off way more than I could chew. Had a whole bunch of different irons in the fire, lots of assets in production, was writing code that was sort of like right at the level of my abilities and just completely flamed out. At the time, I thought it was because of the project, but like, as you know, many of you know, I've sort of gone through a positive health journey over the past year, lost a bunch of weight, getting in shape, seeing a trainer. I look back on that period of time and realize that like one of the main reasons that I burned out working on that project was that I was just tremendously physically unhealthy, and it was sapping all of my energy, and I was falling apart physically, and rationalizing what was going on as like my work was too difficult because I didn't want to make like a difficult physical life change, which I have now made. So I think of, this everything that you saw here might feel very out of left field. But so much of it is, these are things that I started in the past, and they were interesting ideas that I didn't quite get to the part where I got to see, like, does this run well enough? Is it fun? Is this controllable and interesting? So that's what I'm currently doing as a bit of a side project, and as frankly put, as an investigation for like whether this would make another interesting sandbox scene or possibly something more. I just don't want to overcommit to it ahead of time. So I will remain somewhat cagey about the exact scope of these experiments, just so that if I just like it's been years since I worked on this, I could continue tinkering with this for another week and run smack dab into this is why I actually stopped this. This is a disaster design wise or what have you. So, but I'm just going to continue playing along with it because it's already enjoyable just experiencing this type of state transition with the SOSIGs, of being in a context where they're not enemies and then they're enemies. And I think it's something I want to continue playing around with more and seeing if there's a way for me to, tactically insert that sort of place somewhere in the game in a way that is like time efficient to execute, and doesn't just become this like forever project sort of thing. And it might just be the sort of thing that the case that the thing to do here is to let you folks play with something dramatically more rough and just see if that's fun. So I'm going to continue working on this and thinking about it, and we'll just have to see 1 week at a time what this becomes, if anything. Bare minimum, I want to get like if all else fails, I want to get a sandbox scene like this in, because this is a fun environment. I figured out a really good like blockout to tile kit schema for this. It's like a 3x3x3 meter tier tile set. Seems to work well with all of the dimensions. It already is compatible with a lot of assets I've made in the past. And yeah, I'm just going to continue playing around with that, and I hope this is interesting for you folks to watch. So, anywho, no update this week. As I said, I just wanted to take a break from the update churn and just play and experiment and code, and it has been a delight. So, I will see you folks next week with probably the next experimental build in our endless saga of getting all of the night vision, flashlight, lasers, and thermal stuff all working and set and ready to someday, prior to the heat death of the universe, make it onto the main branch. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. See you soon.
Peace.